one definition. The next piece we go to, you see, is that he is the light of the world that shines through the darkness. So first he's the Word. Oh, I forgot this the first time. Let's see if we can do this now. There we go. He's the light of the world, and through all darkness comes. Now, you saw the little piece there. One of the stories that I remember is that the darkness can never, ever cover the light. Did you know that? Light can be put out, but darkness can never cover the light. It can never extinguish that. When we think about what God did, is His light can go out to all of us to fill us. And then John the Baptist, who was there, and I can't do it backwards, but he was up there baptizing, the cousin of Jesus, 6 months older, says, the one who came after me was there before me. Did you catch that? John the Baptist knew that this word, Logos, the revelation and communication of God, and this light that is going to shine through the darkness was existing before he was humanly born. I think that's just such a Holy Spirit thing. Because how did they know? Unless God's wisdom, which is illumination, right? Think about in our age of enlightenment, what's the most important thing? Education, right? Knowledge gives us wisdom. Wisdom gives us understanding. Isn't that our line? Those of you that have been educators? And when we see that wisdom, capital W, was God before in creation, we know that. Then the next thing that we hear is that John says, the Apostle John says, we have to be born again. We are rebirthed, not of human flesh, not like the babies that we're talking about, but we are reborn spiritually by the light that comes out, that wisdom, through the Word. Now later on in John, we have him going out, and John the Baptist talks about he's not the light. The light is there before. He talks about this light will give us rebirth, a new spiritual life. And then we have him coming on the scene, and he's baptized. If you read 1 John, we didn't read that for you. After he's baptized, we have John the Apostle and Andrew, who were followers of John the Baptist, going out and following and becoming a follower. They called Jesus Rabbi. Rabbi, where are you going? He says, come follow me. They tell their brothers, which happens to be James, John's brother, and Peter, which was Simon Peter, Andrew's brother, and then they tell Philip, and then they tell Nathaniel. And at the very end of the first chapter of John, you have another name. You find out who this person is. This is Jesus of Nazareth, Jesus the Christ, the Son of God. Now, when I think about this, and how John starts out the story of who Jesus is, he doesn't talk anything about his birth, does he? He doesn't talk about the human birth. He talks about the spiritual birth, which means that Jesus was with God, is God, was in the beginning of creation, and is all the attributes of God. And it isn't just in the Genesis story that was probably written and handed down, written by Moses, but handed down from the beginning. It is in the Proverbs. And then you got John the Baptist testifying, and John the Apostle, 40 years probably after the crucifixion is when they think it was written, 30 to 40, talking about who Jesus was. He was God, the Son of God. What does that mean to you and I? When we listen to the Gospel of John, we are finding out about who Jesus is. Not just the human character of Jesus, and he was fully human, we are finding out about his spiritual identity, the character of God. As we follow Jesus in the Gospel of John this summer and fall, we will see attributes that help people realize this is not just a gifted man. It is not just the wisest king in the spiritual realm in Jerusalem like Solomon was. This is God in the flesh. John wanted people to know that because guess what? A whole generation had died. In that time in Jerusalem and all that was happening and all of the killing and the anti-Jewish Christian feelings of the Romans, there had been a loss. At the time he writes John, most of the disciples have been martyred. He wants people to know Jesus was not just Jesus of Nazareth, a wonderful rabbi, priest, prophet. Jesus was God, God in the flesh. And he came to redeem us. Now we're going to participate in communion. And part of that communion is about remembering that God came and can redeem us. We cannot see in the darkness, but the light, which is Jesus, can shine. And we can be reborn spiritually by accepting that Jesus did it for us. So when we take that communion, I want us to remember that God is God and has been with us and walked with us and understands who we are. So I would invite you in response and preparation